is that the constitutional amendment should not be applied to her.
Board of Permanent Secretaries come out in support of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dunstan Brand.
But Dr. Alfred Dawes is dismissing claims that the PNP has launched a coordinated attack against the country's civil servants.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he has ambitions for higher political office.
In news from the rest of the world, the U.S. tells Guyana to speak to its Department of Justice about an American sanctioned for smuggling gold.
Biden and Trump to face off in first presidential debate in just over 2 hours.
In headline sports, there'll be a new champion of the ICC T20 World Cup as England is knocked out in the semi-finals.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, tropical wave is moving across Jamaica, bringing unstable weather. We'll hear from section head of the National Meteorological Center, Dr. Lawrence Brown.
In the second half of the cover story, we'll talk with cyber experts on how to track the purveyors of fake news online. We will be joined by CEO of 876 Technology Solutions and Digital Transformation Consultant, Trevor Forrest, and Director of Strategy Operations and People at G5 Cybersecurity USA, Gavin Dennis.
In public opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, how should the government tackle the spread of fake news online? Give us your comments by logging onto our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-2855-693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app available in Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, June 27, 2024.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
4 minutes after 5. Now to the details. Former Attorney General, King's Counsel, Rancid Braham, has rubbished the arguments submitted by lawyers representing the People's National Party that Parliament acted with an improper purpose when it extended the tenure of Paula Llewellyn as Director of Public Prosecutions. King's Counsel Braham offered a strident rejection of the legal argument on day 4 of the appeal hearing underway in downtown Kingston. He's urged the Court of Appeal not to second-guess Parliament's legitimate lawmaking power. Nora Gay Banton reports.
Lawyers for the PNP have placed great value on the argument that when Parliament extended Paula Llewellyn's tenure in July last year, it acted contrary to the scope of its proper lawmaking authority. The lawyers say that rendered the act improper and unconstitutional. But Ransford Braham wants the Court of Appeal to reject that argument completely. He says it has no place before them. According to the former Solicitor General, so long as Parliament's actions did not interfere with any power or function of the office of the DPP, it cannot credibly be accused of acting improperly. Braham went on to note that even if the Court of Appeal finds that the amendment was intended to benefit Paula Llewellyn, by granting her an extension, that still would not amount to an improper purpose. He reasoned that because parliaments in the Westminster tradition have historically passed bills to benefit individuals or groups, such an action was in line with the historical role and authority of the legislature. He cited examples of bills intended to establish churches or build railways to support the point. When challenged by Justice Vivian Harris, who noted those examples were not comparable to the constitutionally protected office of DPP, Braham told the court that it should focus on the fact that so long as the parliamentary action did not interfere with any other recognized power, it must be presumed lawful and constitutionally sound. Braham also rejected the PNP's reliance on letters exchanged between the DPP and the Public Service Commission. He told the court those letters, which were never before the Parliament, could not be used to determine the purpose of legislation validly passed into law. He concluded by urging the court not to second-guess another arm of government that has acted within the scope of its authority. Braham says the Constitutional Court's ruling should be overturned. The final day of the appeal gets underway at 9:30 on Friday morning. Norige Banton for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the attorney representing Paula Llewellyn, Douglas Lays, has told the court to reject a request from the PNP's lawyers that the constitutional amendment be read down so as not to apply to her. George Davis explains.
In law, the term read down refers to the judicial interpretation of a law or statute in a narrow or restrictive manner. When a court reads down a law, it limits the scope or application of the law to make it consistent with constitutional requirements or to ensure that it does not infringe on fundamental rights. Read down often applies when a court finds that a law is overly broad, vague, or ambiguous, and that applying it as written would lead to unconstitutional or unjust outcomes. King's Counsel Michael Hilton was pressed by the judges to explain why there was a request that the amendment not come into effect until after Paula Llewellyn had left office. Justice Jennifer Straw asked why that request from the PNP had been necessary while Paula Llewellyn was in office, except to create what she described as a political football. Douglas Lays told the court there was no need for the court to read down the constitutional amendment and not apply it to Paula Llewellyn because she was validly in office at the time of its passing. Lays said the court therefore had no scope to read down the amendment. He concluded by telling the court that in the context of the case, Parliament has acted admirably. He noted the amendment brings the retirement age of the DPP and Auditor General in sync with other public officials and ensures nobody is left behind. He says the amendment also guaranteed that the rights of the Auditor General and the DPP align with the rest of the public service. Lays says there was nothing unconstitutional about those actions. George Davis for Nationwide News.
The Board of Permanent Secretaries has come out in support of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dunstan Bryan. The unusual intervention by the administrative heads of the ministries of government follows days of attacks on Mr. Bryan by the opposition People's National Party and its professional affiliate, the Patriots. Tawna Thomas reports.
The opposition has alleged that Dunstan Bryan is presiding over a poorly run health sector. Its professional affiliate, the Patriots, has called for his resignation as permanent secretary. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, in a statement on Wednesday, reiterated that call.
We are not criticizing civil servants broadly. Our concern is with the minister and a particular civil servant who has overseen this significant mismanagement. Accountability is non-negotiable, and someone must be held responsible. If not the permanent secretary and the minister, who then should the Jamaicans hold to account for this gross negligence? Those responsible for the poor stewardship of the health sector must resign.
The call for Mr. Bryan to resign has been rejected by trade union leaders and the Civil Service Association. Now, Mr. Bryan's colleague permanent secretaries are also coming to his aid. The Permanent Secretaries Board says it has taken note of the media maelstrom and recent public discourse surrounding Mr. Bryan. The permanent secretaries say while they recognize that no civil servant is above public scrutiny, they're urging that the established processes of the Parliament and the Public Service Commission be utilized to ventilate any issues raised by oversight bodies such as the Auditor General. The permanent secretaries say the established processes must be respected and that civil servants be given the appropriate opportunity to give proper accounts and responses to Parliament. The board says this will ensure the maintenance of the governance system established by law. Tona Thomas for Nationwide News.
Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton is suggesting that his ambition is to serve Jamaica in a higher office, that of Prime Minister. Speaking on Wednesday at a post-cabinet media briefing, he made the comment as he sought to defend his stewardship of the Health Ministry. We have more in this report from Mahiri Stewart.
Despite being hobbled by injuries he sustained in a car accident earlier this month, the Health Minister appeared at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing to defend himself against what he says is the coordinated and persistent attacks by a slew of spokespersons from the opposition PNP. The PNP says the health sector is collapsing on Dr. Tufton's watch, a charge the minister sought to defend stoutly when he faced journalists on Wednesday. Dr. Tufton said it was important for him to make Jamaicans aware that he was managing the health portfolio in their best interest. In a comment that may have missed most, Dr. Tufton says he will not allow morally bankrupt critics to discredit his record in office, given his ambition to serve at a higher level.
Let me say, as a public servant and one who aspires to higher office where we are now and want to continue so to do, but with a lot of experience, that burning down the house to improve your chances of controlling it is an indication of moral bankruptcy and does not serve the interests of the Jamaican people.
Poll after poll on the question of who are the persons best suited to serve the country as Prime Minister have placed Dr. Tufton prominently on the list behind Prime Minister Andrew Holness. When Blue Dot pollsters went into the field between August 18 and September 7 last year, they asked Jamaicans who would be better than Mr. Holness to lead and secure victory for the JLP. Dr. Tufton was the JLP member that received the majority vote, with 27% of the 1,294 respondents choosing the Health Minister. Dr. Tufton polled ahead of the likes of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green, and Labour Minister Pernell Charles Jr. Those same respondents were asked whether they had a positive, negative, or no opinion of select persons in the country such as Andrew Holness, Mark Golding, Floyd Green, Julian Robinson, and Damian Crawford. Dr. Tufton received a combined positive and very positive rating of 53%. When his negative and very negative ratings are subtracted, the Health Minister was left with a net positive rating of 35%. The next closest political leaders with positive public perception were Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Senator Damian Crawford. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
29 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay.
It's a big sale at Fontana Pharmacy from June 27th to June 30th. Get up to 70% off select items in-store and online. Deals on cosmetics, household, home decor, and more. Plus, buy one, get one free on select items. Visit any of our 7 locations and follow us on social media for details. Don't miss the big sale at Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Sagicor salutes Jamaican micro, small and medium enterprises. Happy MSMEs Day. MSMEs, building Jamaica's economy one business at a time.
Dive into your summer projects with Milwaukee Tools from SCL Jamaica Limited in their big blowout sale of up to 70% off. From power drills to saws, their top-notch Milwaukee Tools will handle any project with ease. Hurry to SCL Jamaica Limited at Block L, Sagicor Industrial Center, 7 Norman Road, or call 876-938-1397 for more details. Sale runs June 3 to July 31. Terms and conditions apply. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Continuing the news, opposition spokesman on health Dr. Alfred Dawes is dismissing claims that the People's National Party, PNP, has launched a coordinated attack against the country's civil servants. The claim was made by Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing. But Dr. Dawes sought to explain that the issue is with the lack of resources in the sector and not the civil servants.
The People's National Party stands with the healthcare workers who are under-resourced and put under increasing pressure by the sicker and sicker number of patients seen in the public healthcare sector. The lack of resources is what we have a problem with, not the staff. To make it seem as if the People's National Party is attacking the healthcare workers is the use of tactical empathy.
The PNP has called out the health minister for what they say is his failure to effectively manage the country's health system. The party painted a grim picture of a sector lacking beds, ventilators, and increasing maternal and infant mortality. The PNP has also called for the resignations of Dr. Tufton, 2 senior civil servants, and several members of the boards of a number of regional health authorities. But that move has not gone down well. They've since been criticized for dragging civil servants into the political arena. Dr. Dawes says the party is instead calling for Minister Tufton to address matters plaguing the health sector.
The news coming out of the healthcare sector is damning for a reason. It speaks to a system that is plagued by mismanagement. And instead of addressing these genuine concerns, people are being labeled as naysayers and mischief makers. It is unfortunate and it is devoid of a moral compass.
Dr. Alfred Dawes, opposition spokesman on health.
The U.S. is advising the government of Ghana to direct requests for information about locals sanctioned for gold smuggling to the U.S. Department of Justice. The U.S. Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, recently sanctioned gold dealers Nazar Mohammed, his son Azruddin Mohammed, and former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour, May Thomas. The OFAC accuses them of perpetrating serious human rights abuse and corruption. Thomas is accused of allegedly taking bribes to facilitate the award of government contracts, passports, and gun licenses to the Mohammeds, one of Ghana's wealthiest families.
The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down a part of the bankruptcy deal for Purdue Pharma that would have shielded members of the Sackler family from future lawsuits over their role in fueling the opioid crisis. The Sacklers, who owned and operated the OxyContin maker for the decades, had agreed to pay $6 billion towards a wider settlement in exchange for sweeping protections against civil claims related to the addictive opioid. But the nation's top court ruled that granting such protections to the Sacklers, who did not themselves declare bankruptcy, was not authorized under law.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will square off in the first televised debate of the 2024 presidential election season at 7 Thursday evening. That's this evening. The stakes are high as both men try to convince voters they deserve their ballots come November 5. The debate will take place in Atlanta, Georgia, a key battleground state. Biden won Georgia by fewer than 13,000 votes in the 2020 elections.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour, King's Counsel Rancid Braham rubbishes argument that Parliament acted with an improper purpose when it extended Paula Llewellyn's tenure as DPP.
And Paula Llewellyn's lawyer tells the Court of Appeal to reject a request from the PNP's attorneys that the constitutional amendment should not be applied to her.
Board of Permanent Secretaries come out in support of Permanent Secretary in the Health Ministry, Dunstan Brand.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he has ambitions for higher political office.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Nora Gay Banton.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Outperform, outlast, guilty. We top performance, guilty. Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. 3 parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
News at 5 was brought to you by the new Pizza Zinger from KFC. Topped with marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. Available for a limited time only. KFC. It's finger licking good.
Variety is the spice of life. That's not just true for entertainment, it's true for investing too. While stocks, bonds, and cash are effective, there are other credible investment options out there. These are alternative investments, ranging from digital options like cryptocurrencies to old school investments like gold, real estate, and private equity. You can invest on your own or via a fund with a curated portfolio of investment options.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest 5.99%. Conditions apply.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Boville McPherson and Anthony Cox lead the 8 athletes from this morning's 400 meters qualifiers into this evening's first round of the men's event on the opening day of the 2024 National Athletics Championships at the National Stadium. McPherson and Cox both clocked identical 47.04 seconds to win their respective heats and will join the 16 seeded runners into the semifinals this evening at 6:50. The other 7 emerging from the qualifiers are Paul Henry 47.33, Roy Miller 47.50, Ricardo Black 47.88, Terry Thomas 48.15, Emil Gordon 48.28, and LeVar Berwick of Excelsior High 48.71. Meanwhile, former Meadowbrook High School star Shakur Williams ran a season's best 10.25 to lead 7 athletes from the men's 100 meters qualifiers this morning into tonight's first round at 8:45. 68 sprinters took part in 9 heats this morning, and the 7 will now join the 25 seeded runners in the first round. A total of 680 athletes are competing in the 4-day championship for places on Jamaica's teams to the Olympic Games in Paris, July 26 to August 11, and the World Under-20 Championships in Lima, Peru, August 27 to 30. Reigning world 100 and 200 meters champion Noah Lal says his loss to Jamaica's Oblique Seville has not altered his plans to sweep the gold medals in the sprints at the Paris Olympic Games. Seville posted a personal best and world-leading 9.82 seconds to win the men's 100 meters over the favourite Lal's 9.85 at the Racers Grand Prix on June 1. That defeat is the only blemish on the American's career this season. Speaking on USTFA JTG Live, Lal says he'll be prepared this time around.
They're all going to be gold. I'll tell you why, though. I studied my competitors. I knew that man was going to be ready for that race. Okay. Don't get me wrong, I was ready, but he was obviously more ready on that day. But I'll tell you what, there's a difference from running in Jamaica to running at Olympics. I've seen you how you handle your rounds. I study my competitors. I know what your weaknesses. I know what your strengths are. I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
That's Noah Lals. India produced a clinical all-round display to beat the defending champions England by 68 runs in the second semi-final at the ICC T20 World Cup at Providence in Guyana today. This is India's third trip to the final, but their first in 10 years, and they travel to Bridgetown, Barbados tomorrow, looking for a second title when they face South Africa in the grand finale at the Kensington Oval on Saturday. After a rain delay, India were asked to bat and posted 171 for 7 in their 20 overs, with captain Rohit Sharma slamming 57, Surya Kumar Yadav 47, and Hardik Pandya 23. Chris Jordan claimed 3 for 37. In response, England struggled to live with India's impressive bowling attack and crumbled for 103 in 16 overs and 4 balls, with Harry Brook 25, Joss Butler 23, and Jofra Archer 21 making most runs. Kuldeep Yadav and Axar Patel both got 3 wickets, while Jasprit Bumrah bagged 2. India now has the distinction of reaching the final of all ICC global tournaments in the same calendar year after making it to the final of the Test Championships and the limited overs competition. Cricket West Indies has brought St. Kitts and Nevis fast bowler Jeremiah Louis into the 15-member squad for the 3-test Richard Botham series against England starting at Lord's on July 10. Louis will replace Kemar Roach due to Roach's ongoing rehabilitation from a knee injury sustained during the county championships in England. The 19-year-old fast bowler Isaiah Thorne will join the squad as a development player. The Richards Botham series, named after West Indies legend Sir Vivian Richards and England great Sir Ian Botham, is a historic rivalry dating back to 1928 when the West Indies first toured England. And it's now time for the nationwide Olympic Fact, and it's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that Elaine Thompson-Herah is the first woman to win the sprint double at consecutive Olympics? Yes, that's a fact. Elaine Thompson-Herah won the 100 and 200 meters at the 2016 Rio Olympics before repeating the feat at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Yeah, and Elaine Thompson-Herah is not only the first one, but the only one. And she was looking forward to doing a third time in a row. It won't happen because she has withdrawn, and her Olympic dreams for this particular Olympic is over. The Olympics is going to be next in 2028. And it's going to be Los Angeles, California. Let's see if she's up for it. Today's her birthday, or tomorrow. She's 32 years old tomorrow. So 36, 27 maybe. Nah, it will require Shelley and Fraser-like performances, or maybe VCB.
But yeah, sadly, our Olympics are over before it even started. All right, that's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:31.
You know, that through the new social housing program, the government has already given houses to hundreds of poor Jamaicans and will give over 1,500 more houses to Jamaicans in need. We are building Jamaica.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
The Development Bank of Jamaica wants to see more businesses, more job creation, and better opportunities for people across Jamaica. That's why, since day one, we've been dedicated to facilitating economic growth and development across all sectors, while providing funding and technical assistance to MSMEs, projects, and other businesses through our strong partnerships. Because helping to build better businesses helps to build a better Jamaican economy for everyone. Visit us at dbankjm.com for more info. DBJ, the business builder.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the hose and tool boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
On July 3 and 4, Privacy and Legal Management Consultants Limited will show you how to take control of your data with top-notch privatization solutions offered at their Prioritizing Privacy Conference. This conference dedicated to informing the public about the latest innovations and best practices in data privacy. Cliff Hughes Online will broadcast live from the conference on July 3 and 4 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tune in for insightful discussions with speakers from Trinidad, Barbados, the United Kingdom, and Jamaica, and explore the future of data protection. You don't want to miss this. That's a live broadcast of the Prioritizing Privacy Conference on July 3 and 4 during Cliff Hughes Online, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Privacy and Legal Management Consultants.
Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
Good afternoon. It's 5:35, and it's time for the cover story. I'm Siobhan Campbell. Well, while I wait for my co-host, we will crack on. We have a two-parter today. We have a weather update coming a little bit later, but before we get into that, we're going to be continuing this topic, the matter of fake news and misinformation online. As I recall, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced plans to track and prevent the spread of fake news on social media, this amid concerns that misinformation is causing confusion among citizens. Speaking recently at the Almond Tree Hotel in Oteria, St. Anne, the Prime Minister explained that young people are often the ones caught spreading misinformation online.
Recently, I became aware of a situation where a young person made a post on social media that bordered on being defamatory, probably libelous. The person was tracked and their identity discovered. Long and short, the person was put up to doing this by another political organization. And we have been tracking several such cases where you see some posts being made that border on defamatory or libelous. And when you dig behind, which we have the capabilities to do, and to discover the people behind these accounts, there are young persons being recruited to do this.
The Prime Minister added that supporters of his party should instead promote the achievements of the government.
They are young people. They are being misled because they are native to social media. They are being used to manipulate social media. I'm not going to say too much about our capabilities to track it. And we have been tracking. And you're going to see some actions very shortly for those persons who are using social media. I want to say to you, the people who have chosen to be a part of the Jamaica Labour Party, the Jamaica Labour Party does not use or endorse the use of social media to attack people's character, to assassinate people's character, to spread misinformation. We have too many good news items, too many achievements that you need to promote.
That's Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Well, today we ask experts how the government can realistically tackle the spread of fake news online. Tyrone, I hear you're with me now.
Good afternoon to you, Sir Siobhan, and good afternoon to our listeners and our viewers on YouTube.
It's good to hear you, Tyrone. I thought I was going to have to do it solo today, which was...
Not at all.
Well, we're going to turn now to the CEO of 876 Technology Solutions, digital transformation consultant, information and data security practitioner Trevor Forrest, along with the director for strategy operations and people at G5 Cybersecurity in the United States, Gavin Dennis. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Afternoon.
Let's start with you, Trevor Forrest. Before we go into the how, let's talk about the why and the should we. Should we actually be attempting to, essentially what they do, crack down on fake news and misinformation online?
You're asking the technology people about the matters that are legal and ethical in nature. Those are constitutional questions, you know.
But no one better than a technology expert to really be able to navigate that field.
But no, there are clear situations that have been prevailing globally, especially with the advent of new technologies that warrant some sort of system framework methodology to manage, monitor, marshal the spread of fake news. I think the most recent scenarios that we've seen come up is the use of artificial intelligence technology to create things like deepfakes and so on, where the likeness, the voice of popular people, public figures, and so on, are created and have them saying and doing things they didn't actually do, and broadcasting that stuff out there. So there are situations where something has to be done to treat that, because the layman may not know that the information he's consuming is not accurate, not real. It also, if I might add, puts trusted sources at risk as well, because now it's a situation where, okay, who do you believe and what do you believe, right? So from that standpoint, based on where the technology is going, how information is being created and put out there, there are some guardrails that are needed. Now, the challenge is, how do you balance those guardrails that you have to put in against the freedom of expression that is afforded you by charter rights or constitution, as the case may be. That makes it very difficult to balance, right? Because now, how do you go after, and I use that term deliberately, someone that you're accusing of spreading bad information or even fake information without violating their right to freedom of expression. So it's very challenging. From a technology or a technical standpoint, there is technology that exists and technology that's being developed that can aid in doing that. But the challenge is, and the trick is, how do you balance freedom of expression with the use of that kind of technology to accomplish that specific outcome?
And Gavin Dennis, I'm considering the United States, where this is quite a thorny subject, especially as we go into we're in election mode over there in the United States. What has been the strategy and the attempt over there to tackle this matter of misinformation and fake news?
I mean, for the U.S., there hasn't been a really strong push. There's been a lot of talk around fake news and misinformation, but there hasn't been much control put in place to minimize that misinformation being spread, especially around politics and elections, etc. We've seen some lawsuits that have come out of since the previous election around whether certain statements were true about election tampering, etc. But in terms of regulating the general population about what type of things people are allowed to post, there hasn't been much control there, because America, as you know, is a country that's heavily focused on promoting freedom of speech. So it's really hard for a country that has built a culture like that to now push back on the people to say, we want to regulate what you say.
But it's not a matter that the tools don't exist. I mean, between you and Trevor Forrest, it is entirely possible.
They do.
Yes. In fact, just this week, a ruling came from the Supreme Court on this kind of matter, because the Biden administration and the Republican Party were at odds over a situation that was prevailing that speaks to this very matter, and the Supreme Court issued a ruling on that. So the conversation is hot, and again, because the as Gavin says, the freedom of the First Amendment rights in the United States, it's a thing that is very liberal. It's a very difficult thing to manage. Very difficult thing, because the balancing act is very challenging.
Gentlemen, we're almost up on the break, but when we come back, I would like to hear from you. If you're advising the government of Jamaica, how would you, because it's clear this issue is detaining them, of addressing misinformation and disinformation being spread online, what kind of advice you would give to them?
Okay.
We'll take that after the break.
Sure, yes.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:45.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations. The supermarket checkout line
or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Presenting another finalist in the 2024 Jamaica Festival Song Competition.
Jamaica, Jamaica. It's your girl Trish Mack. My song is called Jamaica is a Big Brand.
Jamaica is a big brand. Oh, yoy, oh, yoy, oh. And we proud of where we come from. Resilient and we accent strong. Jamaica.
Jamaica Festival 2024.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or two or three, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers, as we tackle the topic of fake news and misinformation online. Can we track it? To discuss this further, we have with us the CEO of 876 Technology Solutions, that's Trevor Forrest, and the Director of Strategy Operations and People at G5 Cybersecurity over in the United States, Gavin Dennis. Tyrone, you had a particular question for the two.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right, gentlemen, the issue is clearly detaining the administration of the day. And we're thinking Jamaicans as well. This whole business of misinformation, disinformation. Governments around the world really have been attempting to deal with this issue. What would be your advice? There are those who believe they might encroach upon freedom of speech if they seek to legislate any further than the defamation and cyber crimes laws that currently exist. What say you, Trevor Forrest? And I'd love to hear you on it as well, Gavin Dennis. What would be your advice to the whole administration as to how to tackle this conundrum?
Right. So to my mind, governments have to take a kind of, I guess, what I would call a layered approach to this thing, right? The first and most important move that they must make and must consider is public education and awareness, right? Because if people don't know how to differentiate between what is fake and what is real, then it doesn't matter whatever else you do downstream, you're always going to have the problem. So it's very important to create programs that allow people to be made aware and informed about how to differentiate between what is fake news and what is real news. Now, when you establish that layer, right, the next thing you do is you utilize technology to help them to discern what is fake and what is real. Because there are technologies out there, and there's machine learning, there are sophisticated algorithms that, if applied to different sources, different platforms, could then give enough cues to the consumers of the information. Now, look, based on a whole host of various things, you might want to question this information, or you may want to question this source, all right? So what you do now is, after you educate people, you give them help through use of technology, and that's where things like artificial intelligence and machine learning can be very useful. Then, Below that now, that's where now you start to look at legislation that would then say, okay, over time, after you have educated people, put in systems that can detect and inform and help people out to detect these things, then you have legislation that says, okay, when you find these things and when you find the sources, then you have to have a legislative framework that allows action to be taken in concert with charter rights and freedom of expression. That kind of makes sense there. So you educate people, you give them tools, or you allow for tools to help them in detecting, and then once that goes through, you then put in a legislative framework that allows action to be taken. Because this is not only about news, but this is about information.
So do you criminalize the spread of fake news, disinformation? That's what you're saying? Eventually?
Sorry, say again?
I'm asking, do you criminalize eventually the spreading of fake news, misinformation, disinformation?
So I don't think you have to. There may be situations where you do, but I don't think you have to, because remember, it's not in all cases that certain and bear in mind the things that require criminal action are already in law, defamation and those kind of things. So you don't have to do that, because what you want to do is minimize the creation of that kind of content by telling people that this is what it is, or by giving them the help to do that. And once they can identify that kind of content, then the people who are creating it won't get the attention that they want.
Good luck with that. Some people will believe. People believe eventually what they want.
Conundrum, right?
Trevor Forrest.
Yeah, and
some people want to believe
but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. What you notice on social media, if you just take that as a barometer, if people are posting things and they're not getting the attention, the likes, the spread that they're looking for, they go and do something else, or they try something else. And it doesn't happen overnight. It is something that has to happen over time.
Gavin Dennis, you're taking it. You're advising the administration of the day as to how to tackle this business of misinformation, disinformation, the spread of fake news online. What would that be?
So, all right. So, from my perspective, it doesn't matter which party is really in power now. My advice would be that they have to start leading from the top with these kind of things. So, for example, you have all of these different social media accounts. You have Twitter, Facebook, etc., especially for Twitter. Now, if someone posts something fake on Twitter, right now there's no central government account that's responding to these things. There's no central government account that's saying, this is incorrect. This is really what the correct information is about this. So what we have are MPs that have personal accounts that they occasionally post government-related things about. But there's no central source of information on social media for the government. First thing that they need to fix. So when anyone at all is posting something on social media, there should be a government account that can follow up with that post and respond to give the correct info, so that the misleading info doesn't stay by itself to be shared. Because once you start to engage with that misleading info, you would see the correct info from the government-related account that's saying, this is false, etc., this is the correct source, here is the link, etc., etc. That doesn't exist. And so it doesn't matter what the legislation and so will do, right? If the practice is not there, where people are not seeing where the government is countering what is allegedly fake news, then it means that if you're not opposing it, it's probably true. If no one from the government is coming out officially from a central place to say that this is incorrect, this is really the correct thing, then they are really giving that fake or misleading info the power to live without any kind of objection. And so they have to start by tackling these communications directly to say this is fake. They have to directly engage with these communications. And that's one of the things that they don't do now. They don't really engage with them. And ultimately, it's the media that ultimately posts something about a topic, giving, more accurate info. But there's no single account that's the central truth about what is happening across the government. And that's one of the things that they should establish.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. That was the Director of the Strategy, Operations and People at G5 Cybersecurity, Gavin Dennis. We were also joined by CEO of 876 Technology Solutions, Trevor Forrest. I would have loved to continue with you, gentlemen, but we do have to take a weather update right after this. So we thank both our guests for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thanks. Thank you, everyone.
So we will now crack on. As you know, there's a tropical wave affecting Jamaica. It's currently moving across the island, bringing with it showers and thunderstorms that are expected to affect the entire island. According to the Met Service, the tropical wave will continue to move westward, bringing periods of showers and thunderstorms through Thursday morning, especially in eastern and south central parishes. Windy conditions are also expected to persist until Friday due to a low-level jet stream. To discuss the implications for the island, we'll be joined by Head of the Weather Branch at the Jamaica Meteorological Service, Rowan Brown. He'll be with us. He's on now. Mr. Brown, good evening. Well, good afternoon, rather.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
All right, give thanks. How are you?
So what is the status now as of just before 6 o'clock?
All right, so the latest is that there is a tropical wave just west of Jamaica, right? Now, this tropical wave moved across the island yesterday, and this was responsible for the increase in showers as well as some strong gusty winds. So it moved across the island yesterday. It is west of Jamaica, and it is moving farther west. However, there is some significant and lingering moisture behind the system or to the east of the system, and that moisture will remain over us for another, say, 12 to 18 hours. So between now and tomorrow morning, tomorrow midday, we will continue to see periods of cloudiness with some showers in the mix.
Is there any potential of this tropical wave developing further, and if so, would it have an impact on Jamaica?
All right, so as it is in the region, there are two tropical waves, but this particular tropical wave is moving towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And as it moves, there is the possibility of development. The latest analysis we had indicated that there was about a 10% chance of development, but for the most part, it's expected to move towards the Yucatan Peninsula and pull that moisture and rainfall away from Jamaica and into the Gulf of Mexico. That is what's expected for this system.
And what would you advise people to do tomorrow? Walk with their umbrella? Should they take any additional precautions? How would you advise?
So as the system is moving away, right, you will still have periods of cloudiness and you will have some periods of showers. So yes, walk with it, especially during the morning. So for tonight and into tomorrow morning, you're going to be having the cloudy conditions and, of course, the wet weather. As the day progresses on tomorrow, though, conditions should gradually improve and become better going into Saturday.
Is there any risk of flooding on the part of this?
Well, most of the significant rainfall is offshore Jamaica's west coast. But again, for some areas, if you're low-lying and the rains continue, you could get some possible flooding, but not necessarily because of the magnitude of rainfall, but because probably the ground is saturated and any additional rainfall could lead to some flooding.
Okay, that is Head of the Weather Branch at the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Rowan Brown. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
The headlines are next at 6.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations. the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Nationwide News at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM, the most credible and trustworthy news station.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The Board of Permanent Secretaries has come out in support of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dunstan Bryan. The unusual intervention by the administrative heads of the ministries of government follows the days of attacks on Mr. Bryan by the opposition People's National Party and its professional affiliate, the Patriots. Tona Thomas reports.
The opposition has alleged that Dunstan Bryan is presiding over a poorly run health sector. Its professional affiliate, the Patriots, has called for his resignation as permanent secretary. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, in a statement on Wednesday, reiterated that call.
We are not criticizing civil servants broadly. Our concern is with the minister and a particular civil servant who has overseen this significant mismanagement. Accountability is non-negotiable, and someone must be held responsible. If not the permanent secretary and the minister, who then should the Jamaicans hold to account for this gross negligence? Those responsible for the poor stewardship of the health sector must resign.
The call for Mr. Bryan to resign has been rejected by trade union leaders and the Civil Service Association. Now, Mr. Bryan's colleague permanent secretaries are also coming to his aid. The Permanent Secretaries Board says it has taken note of the media maelstrom and recent public discourse surrounding Mr. Bryan. The Permanent Secretaries say while they recognize that no civil servant is above public scrutiny, they're urging that the established processes of the Parliament and the Public Service Commission be utilized to ventilate any issues raised by oversight bodies such as the Auditor General. The Permanent Secretaries say the established processes must be respected and that civil servants be given the appropriate opportunity to give proper accounts and responses to Parliament. The board says this will ensure the maintenance of the governance system established by law. Tona Thomas for Nationwide News.
Opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is dismissing claims that the PNP has launched a coordinated attack against the country's civil servants. The claim was made by Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing. But Dr. Dawes sought to explain that the issue is with the lack of resources in the sector and not the civil servants.
The People's National Party stands with the healthcare workers who are under-resourced and put under increasing pressure by the sicker and sicker number of patients seen in the public healthcare sector. The lack of resources is what we have a problem with, not the staff. To make it seem as if the People's National Party is attacking the healthcare workers is the use of tactical empathy.
Dr. Dawes says the party is instead calling for Mr. Tufton to address matters plaguing the health sector.
The news coming out of the healthcare sector is damning for a reason. It speaks to a system that is plagued by mismanagement. And instead of addressing these genuine concerns, people are being labeled as naysayers and mischief makers. It is unfortunate and it is devoid of a moral compass.
Dr. Alfred Dawes, opposition spokesman on health. Duty forecaster at the Met Service, Ainsworth Sadler, says central and western parishes will continue to experience cloudy conditions with periods of showers and thunderstorms due to a tropical wave moving west of Jamaica.
For the rest of the day today, we're expecting that central and western parishes are likely to experience most of the pockets of showers that is likely to affect the rest of the island as the system continues to proceed west. So fishers, marine interests should be very cautious. Currently there's a small craft warning that is out as a result of forecast thunderstorms and strong winds especially for the southern zones. Officials would know what I'm talking about. That's inshore and offshore the south coast, but it's likely to affect sections of the north coast as well inshore.
The tropical wave is expected to move further away from the island today. Mr. Sadler says windy conditions are expected to continue into early next week due to the presence of a low-level jet stream. Meanwhile, he says there is a low chance the tropical wave will develop into a hurricane.
The system that we are speaking of, that's the tropical wave, it currently has a low % chance of developing into a tropical cyclone. And that's a low percent, I mean like 10% chance of any development for the next 2 days. Now, for the next 7 days, it's like a 30% chance of development. So, in general, the summary of that has a low % chance of development.
Ainsworth Sadler, duty forecaster at the Met Service. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smikle. Sports is next.
How much for your drink a rare rum? How much for your flask? How much for your drink a rare rum? How much for your flask? When you head to the bar, feel all our vibes and parts. Spend 15 bills, get a queue, fit the crew. Or spend 250 pound a drink for you or your boo. How much for your drink a rare rum? How much for your flask? How much for your drink a rare rum? How much for your flask?
Must be 18 years old to drink responsibly.
Drive Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 5.99% interest rate. Yes, shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 5.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 5.99%. Conditions apply.
Nationwide 90 FM is at it again. Team Revolution will clear every hurdle and sprint to the finish line as we cover the games of the 33rd Olympiad from Paris, the city of love.
3 meters clear, 5 meters clear, and away he goes. He continues on his way towards another gold medal. 5 gold medals, 5 world records.
Nationwide's coverage is powered by our diamond sponsor, Fosrich, fostering rich customer service across all locations island-wide.
More savings, more choices. Get active with Active Home Center. The one-stop shop for everything for your home. We have more savings, more choices, unbelievable prices. Wide selection with the latest style. The kitchen, bathroom, right down to the tile. Buy the hottest items on spot, don't miss out. Best options under one roof, no doubt. More savings, more choices.
Visit us in store or online at www.activehomecenter.com.
We have more savings, more choices.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
9 minutes past 6. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Boville McPherson and Anthony Cox will lead the 8 athletes from this morning's 400 meters qualifiers into this evening's semi-finals of the event on the opening day of the 2024 National Athletics Championships At the National Stadium, McPherson and Cox both clocked identical 47.04 seconds to win their respective heats, and they'll join the 16 seeded runners into the semi-finals this evening at 6:50. The other 7 emerging from the qualifiers are Paul Henry, 47.33, Roy Miller, 47.50, Nicardo Black, 47.88, Terry Thomas, 48.15, Emil Gordon, 48.28, and LeVar Berrick of Excelsior High School, 48.71. Meanwhile, former Meadowbrook High School runner Shakur Williams ran a season's best 10.25 seconds to lead 7 athletes from the men's 100 meters qualifiers this morning into tonight's first round at 8:45. 68 sprinters took part in 9 heats this morning, and 7 will now join the 25 seeded runners in the first round. A total of 680 athletes are competing in the 4-day championships for places on Jamaica's teams to the Olympic Games in Paris, July 26 to August 11, and the World Under-20 Championships in Lima, Peru, August 27 to 30. Reigning World 100 meters and 200 meters champion Noah Lal says his loss to Oblique Seville has not altered his plans to sweep the gold medals in the sprints at the Paris Olympic Games. Seville posted a personal and world-leading 9.82 seconds to win the men's 100 meters over Lal's 9.85 at the Racers Grand Prix on June 1. That defeat is the only blemish on Lals' career this season. Speaking on the USTAF JTG Live, Lal says he'll be prepared this time around.
They're all going to be gold. I'll tell you why, though. I studied my competitors. I knew that man was going to be ready for that race. Okay. Don't get me wrong, I was ready, but he was obviously more ready on that day. But I'll tell you what, there's a difference from running in Jamaica to running at Olympics. I've seen you how you handle your rounds. I study my competitors. I know what your weaknesses. I know what your strengths are. I'll be ready.
That's Noah Lals. 1996 men's 100 meters Olympic champion Donovan Bailey says the absence of Elaine Thompson-Herah at the national championships presents an opportunity for one of the upcoming sprinters to secure an individual lane in Paris. Thompson-Herah will not be competing at the championships due to an injury. The women's 100 meters will start with the preliminary rounds this evening at 7:50. Speaking on his podcast, Bailey Running Things, Bailey says it will be difficult to predict who will step up and secure that third spot.
Who should be there? Shelly-Ann Fraser, many times world champion, one of the best women's sprinter in the history of the world. She's one of the greatest that ever walked. Yeah. When I talk about technical, Shelly-Ann's someone that all the kids should watch. About execution. Sharika, absolutely. I think that Sharika is going to be something special. And there's an opening. With Elaine gone, there's an opening. We know that Jamaica is deep. Brianna is back. Alana, Jamaica is deep. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see who is going to take that third spot, because the U.S. team again is tough, and I'm very certain that the Jamaican squad want to bring the fire. The ladies has got to bring the fire.
Bailey says Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake, and Kishane Thompson are favourites to take the 3 individual spots from the men's side.
League Seville should win. She should win quite easy, actually, to tell you the truth. Akeem Blake, obviously a 9'8" guy from last year. Kishane Thompson could be the surprise of this entire trials and could be the surprise of Paris, period. Kishane, Akeem Blake, and Oblique, that's who my top 3 would be. But we have Johan, who was on his last Olympic trials. He's still got 1 or 2 really good races in him, and I would love for him to make the team. I really would. Raheem Ford, I mean, there's a couple of guys that you want to see make the team.
Donovan Bailey. India produced a clinical all-round display to beat defending champions England by 68 runs in the second semi-finals of the ICC T20 World Cup at Providence in Guyana today. This is India's 3rd trip to the final, but their first in 10 years, and they travel to Barbados tomorrow, looking for a second title when they face South Africa in the final at Kensington Oval on Saturday. They won the inaugural T20 World Cup in 2007. Now, after a rain delay, India were asked to bat, and they posted 171 for 7 in their 20 overs, with the captain Rohit Sharma slamming 57, Surya Kumar Yadav 47, and Hardik Pandya 23. Chris Jordan claimed 3 for 37. In reply, England struggled to live with India's impressive bowling attack, and they crumbled for 103 in 16 overs and 4 balls, with Harry Brook 25, Joss Butler, the captain, 23, and Jofra Archer 21 making most runs. Kuldeep Yadav and Aksar Patel both got 3 wickets, while Jasprit Bumrah bagged the 2. India now has the distinction of reaching the final of all ICC global tournaments in the calendar year, after making it to the final of the Test Championship and the limited overs competitions. Cricket West Indies has brought in St. Kitts and Nevis fast bowler Jeremy Louis into the 15-man squad for the 3-test Richard Botham series against England starting at Lord's on July 10. Louis will replace Kemar Roach due to Roach's ongoing rehabilitation from a knee injury sustained during the county championships in England. 19-year-old fast bowler Isaiah Thorne will join the squad as a development player. The Richard Botham series, named after West Indies legend Sir Vivian Richards and England great Lord Ian Botham, is a historic rivalry dating back to 1928 when the West Indies first toured England. Batting a second time, the West Indies Academy, they reached 148 for 3 against emerging Ireland in the second 4-day match when rain interrupted play at the Civil Service Cricket Club in Belfast. Kadeem Alain, 38, Joel Andrew, 13, and Captain Teddy Bishop are the batsmen back in the pavilion. Meanwhile, opener Akeem August, 70, and Carlon Bowen Tuckett, 2, are the not-out batsmen. Earlier, the Irish were bowled out for a first innings 441. James McCollum made 40, Captain Andrew Balbirnie 88, Andy McBride 64, and Fionn Hand 79. Scores in the game so far: the West Indies Academy 200 and 148 for 3, emerging Ireland 441. Panama and the United States were locked up at 1-1 at sports time in their Copa America Group C game at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Weston McKinney gave the U.S. the lead after only 5 minutes, but Cesar Blackman drew Panama level 19 minutes later. Coming up later this evening will be Uruguay against Bolivia. Meanwhile, coach of the Jamaica national team, Himir Helgrimson, says too many of his players didn't turn up to the party as the team suffered a 3-1 defeat to Ecuador in the Copa America last evening in Las Vegas. Casey Palmer's 13th minute own goal put Ecuador ahead, and Kendra Pies made it 2-0 from the spot 4 minutes into our first half stoppage time. Mikel Antonio has restored something of an opportunity for the Jamaica team when he scored in minute 54, but Alhamida got the final goal in the first minute of second half stoppage time to give Ecuador their 3-1 win.
Too many players had an off day for us, and when you play this competition at this level, you cannot have too many players having an off day. And again, I don't know why, but they kind of surprised us with the power they have, with the pressure they did, and we didn't in the beginning. We kind of lost confidence, struggled winning second balls, etc. So Ecuador is a good team, a young team that is going to be interesting to watch them in the future.
Himmer Halkinson. Bidzina Ishinovili, the former Prime Minister of Georgia, has pledged to give £8.4 million to the nation's football team after they beat Portugal at Euro 2024. Georgia, managed by former French defender Willy Sagnol, overcame Portugal 2-0 in Gelsenkirchen on Wednesday to qualify for the last 16. They'll take on Spain. The 68-year-old former Prime Minister said he would donate a further £8.4 million to the squad and coaching staff should they beat Spain when they play them on Sunday. Finally, in sports at this time, Jamaica was drawn in Pool A for the America's Netball World Youth Qualifiers in Guadeloupe, July 7 to 14. They are joined by St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, the Cayman Islands, and Canada. The Jamaicans are hoping to secure one of the 3 qualifying spots to the World Youth Cup in Gibraltar in September. Pool B includes the Trinidad and Tobago team, Barbados, Antigua, and Barbuda, St. Martin, and host Guadeloupe. And it's now time for the Nationwide Olympic Fact. It's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that Elaine Thompson-Herah is the first woman to win the sprint double at consecutive Olympics? Yes, that's a fact. Elaine Thompson-Herah won the 100 and 200 meters at the 2016 Rio Olympics before repeating the feat at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts. Brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back with more sports during the news at 6 tomorrow morning.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Don't compromise on water storage. Choose Rhino water tanks, Jamaica's top pick for over 25 years. Built strong. Purchase a water harvester for an additional water supply. Rhino water tank, Jamaica's choice.
The Faculty of Law at UWI Mona invites you to their 10th annual symposium on law, governance, and society, navigating tradition, embracing innovation, and expanding legal frontiers. Attend online or in person at the Iberostar Rose Hall Beach Hotel, Saturday, June 29 and Sunday, June 30. Panel presentations on international law, employment law and AI, environmental law, security transactions, constitutional interpretation, transfer pricing, and more. Register at www.mona.ue.edu/law or call 876-550-2680. CLPD credits available.
This outstanding 6'4" athlete credits Jamaica with her first Olympic victory ever.
Jamaica is filled with Olympians.
World record holder McKinley dashes into the lead.
We must never forget the forerunners of Jamaican Olympic greatness.
Coming into the home stretch, it's Wint who challenges the leader.
Win or lose, athletes never forget their Olympic experience.
Melly Notty has devastated another world-class field. And Hemmings is going to do it. Hemmings wins it. She's the champion.
Win or lose, Jamaicans will cheer the loudest at the Olympics so that the world will never forget who we are.
And Usain Bolt is moving away. And Jamaica retain their title. And the world record has been taken apart. Oh, I say.
From July 26 to August 11, tune in only to Nationwide 90 FM for the coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, because we're here to ensure that you never forget. Nationwide's coverage is powered by our bronze sponsors: National Road Operating and Constructing Company Limited, Grace Foods, Spirits Expression Sports Lounge, Imperial Optical Jamaica, Rainforest Caribbean, and Sunshine Snacks.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Welcome to another Public Opinion, folks. Welcome and thank you to all of our YouTubers who are here in the live chat. Feel free to tune in our live chat to voice your opinion on today's Public Opinion. All right, so last time we were here, we asked the question, is there a fake news problem in Jamaica? And majority of people said yes. So now that we've established that, it's time for part 2 of the question, yes? Today's Public Opinion question is, how should the government tackle the spread of fake news online? Now, as we all know, members of the government have said recently that they want to see a crackdown on the issue of fake news. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Senator Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, even Darrell Vaz said so during post-cabinet press briefing yesterday. So let's take a look at some of the responses. Let's take a look at some of the methods that people have presented on how we can stop fake news from spreading, and by we in this case, how the government rather. Let's see how the government can stop fake news. Let's see what suggestions people have for the government, yeah? Michael Raffington kicks us off on Instagram. He says they should have their social media influencers counteract the fake with good news. They should always be there to show the other side, and if the information is libelous, then allow their attorneys to deal with it, as I am seeing happening right now. Fabless19 says one of the ways is to have a press secretary as they speak. He or she shuts it down immediately, highlighting the truth. Slim Cutter 876 says call election. Simple as that. All right, what else we have here? Boss Light Productions 1 says have a proper information source. Promote it so people know about it and where to find it. Anybody that wants to believe anything else, that's their choice. What else we have here? Coot Star says the country isn't free without freedom of expression. Okay. If the Prime Minister is worried about misinformation, then he should make sure he always does what's on the country's best interest, and tell the truth. What else we have here? GMoney2914 says, this must be very hard to I can't read this one. What is this? This will be very hard because most people believe that freedom of speech and lies are the same thing. The government should work along the media houses for fact-checking, and every 2 days let his press secretary speak on whatever fake news that is circulating around. Junior Nana says, prosecution. Fyodor Peterson says, they shouldn't. Okay. What else we have here? Barnett Andrew says, by putting out the facts. All right. Okay, folks. So that's Instagram. I'm going to try and go through these quickly so we can get to the YouTubers, yeah? So, Think Different podcast on X, formerly known as Twitter, says implementing a combination of fact-checking, media literacy programs, and legislation to criminalize malicious disinformation while promoting critical thinking and collaboration with social media companies. We keep reading. Speaking Out JA says the government needs to be more transparent. Okay, what else we have here? Elon Musk admirer says, do what the Supreme Court justices did yesterday. The government can shut them down. All right. What else we have here? K. Edwards says, yes. All right. What else we have here? Javon Ramdin says the government can mandate digital literacy education to teach citizens, especially youth, to identify credible sources and misinformation tactics. Platforms must remove false content within 24 hours or face penalties, including imprisonment. Rosebud says swallow them. Yeah? Daryl Nick says use their government privilege to report the users to the online creators and let them publish the facts so the public will see these accounts get exposed or deleted. All right. And what's the last one we're going to check? We're going to check Facebook. Okay. So on Facebook, I am seeing here 9 comments. Tony Smith says counter the fake news with truth, improve the communication levels. Bad English says the government should establish clear guidelines and enforcement for platforms to identify and remove false content. Philip Jackson says, what we have here? What's this? Job somewhere in chapter 4 says, the mouth tasted meat, so must the ears trieth words when you hear them. I only listen to what is reported on mainstream media. All right. Government already has a plan that we will soon get the details of, says Philip Jackson. Mark Julius says, fake news is not just an online problem. It's an offline, outline, inline, and online problem. To tackle fake news online, track the individuals via their electronic device and charge them. Annette Wheeler says the government needs to explain what they are saying is fake news because people are saying that he's trying to stop freedom of speech. Natalie Winter says, news is news. Not every news is palatable to the ear and worth repeating. We as individuals can be the judge of that. All right, folks, it's time to see what the YouTubers are saying. Hello, YouTubers. Welcome back to Public Opinion. What we talking about today? All right. Am I seeing any answers? Am I seeing any answers here? Am I seeing any answers I can read? Or do we need to end pub up early? What are we doing here, folks? What are your suggestions on the cancellation? What should the government do? Yeah, to stop the spread of fake news. What's your fake news reduction strategy? Okay, here we go. Carlene Smith says by educating the people, lessons in media literacy, use online platforms to inform people, create the news and stop responding to fake news. That's what Carlene Smith says. Paul Bennett says, create a fake news finder that patrols online, finding and highlighting instantaneously in dramatic, animated fashion. Dennis Barnaby says, sue for defamation when whatever they say is defamatory, I guess is what they're saying. All right, Leonard Seville says, some folks need to be brought to the books for knowingly spreading lies. That is not news. All right, Precious Soul says, shut them down. Yeah? Not seeing any more. If I scroll up, will I see something? No. Can we end it here? Almost there. I think I'm seeing a couple more here. All right, so I think we can end it here. Doreen Johnson just comes in at the nick of time. She says to sue them. Full stop. All right, folks, I think I can end it here. Yeah, I'm not seeing many responses right now. Ken Youth Mulling says sue them for defamation. So a lot of people are saying sue for defamation. That's the way to end fake news. That's the main method I'm seeing right here. But yeah, folks, there we have it. Lots of different responses. Some people say you need to patrol social media and expose the people that do it. Yeah, lots of different answers. But that's public opinion for today, Thursday, June 27. But now it's time for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Cool loans, I lend you 500 grand. We buy appliances and electrons. All flexible, payment plan. Yeah, man, a hot cash. Hot. I hope to 500 grand. Yeah, man, a hot cash. $500,000 that make you rich fast. 100 grand for buy steel and black. 200 for furniture, laptop. 200 for keep birthday bash. Yeah, money loan hot. Get a cool loan to purchase all your electronics, furnitures, and appliances at coolmarket.com.
My Mega
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:32.
Don't let poor vision hold your children back. IQ Optical gives complimentary standard reflection-free lenses to children and teachers until May 31. Conditions apply.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
29 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, following a recent partnership agreement with VM Group, is now moving forward to transform its 39 Hope Road headquarters into a new commercial hub with space for rental from which it will earn additional income. The development, which is to see the build-out of 32,000 square feet of spacing, will spread across 4 upper levels with basement and ground floor parking and a lobby area. The rooftop will also comprise of an amenity area which tenants can use for various activity. PSOJ President Metri Siaga said in a news release this week, quote, "We are taking concrete steps forward towards a project that has been a part of the PSOJ's strategic plan for years. Our objective is to create a facility that not only means that not only meets, rather, our operational requirements, but also serves as a model of sustainability within the Jamaican business community. Internationally, the U.S. Justice Department has reached an agreement with fugitive financier Joe Low to return more than $100 million allegedly embezzled from Malaysia's state-owned wealth fund as part of the 1MDB scandal. The U.S. said artworks by artists Andy Warhol and Claude Monet and a luxury flat in Paris would be liquidated and assets worth $67 million released to Malaysia. Prosecutors allege the assets are linked to the cash raised for the One Malaysia Development Berhad Fund dating back to 2012 and 2013. Mr. Low, a wanted fugitive, remains at large, although his whereabouts are unknown. The assets will supplement some $1.4 billion already returned with the help of the U.S., the Justice Department said. In total, over $4.5 billion were allegedly stolen from the 1MDB fund. Currency markets in the close of trading today cost 155 Jamaican dollars and 15 cents to buy $1. It cost 195 Jamaican dollars and 62 cents to buy £1 and 113 Jamaican dollars and 29 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. Stay tuned for more.
Sagicor salutes Jamaican micro, small, and medium enterprises. Happy MSMEs Day. MSMEs, building Jamaica's economy, one business at a time.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
It's 6:38 and it's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
I'm Tyrone.
Hello again, Tyrone. How are you doing over there?
Chilling. Obviously, like chilling.
Is it cold?
No.
Are you chilling or is it just cold?
It's all right. Well, it's good.
well, listeners, today is World MSME Day. That's 2024. Jamaica, like the rest of the world, is celebrating World MSME Day 2024 under the theme highlighting crucial roles in sustainable development. MSMEs are among the driving forces of the Jamaican economy. The sector generates over $400 million annually.
The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to enhancing the policy, improving access to financing, fostering collaboration between public and private sectors to support MSME. We are now being joined by the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the man who is the of the export evangelist, Senator Orbit Hill, president of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises MSME Alliance, Donovan Wickner. Gentlemen, welcome to Nationwide at 5.
I understand we have Auburn Hill, but we don't have Mr. Wignall yet. Senator Hill, are you there, sir?
I am here, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Always good to hear you. I'm very well.
So, MSME Day 2024, just give us a understanding. Where does the MSME sector stands in Jamaica at this point in terms of contribution to GDP, its growth over the years?
In a very prominent position. The World Bank estimates that we have over 400,000 MSME in our business. Probably, over about 60 to 70% of our users are really in the private sector, are in the MSME sector, because big companies are very efficient. They have lots of technology and equipment, and it's the small companies that are starting with 3, 4, 5, 10 people that keep increasing our employment roles. So they're vital to us, and clearly a lot of people are employed to them. Because of that, we treat them as significantly important because they are a major force to help us achieve our sustainable development goals, which we've signed up, and they are very, very purposeful in reducing poverty and providing decent work spaces and salaries for people in Jamaica. So we find them as being very, very important.
I understand we're now joined by Mr. Wignall. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Siobhan, I'm here. Good evening to you. Good evening to your team and your listeners. Good evening.
And all you can say, Mr. Wignall, is yes, that's true.
Mr. I heard you, Minister. I heard you, and I can say yes, that's true. You're absolutely correct.
Well, Mr. Wignall, you're on and you have the minister on. So let me ask you, what would you say is the current major challenge for the MSME sector, and how can the minister address it?
All right, so the minister has been addressing the matters having to do with the sector under his portfolio. So as far as the friction points are concerned with opening a business, as far as it's concerned, interacting with the various government departments, making the situation more efficient, time-saving, those things are being addressed. I'm a part of committees, I'm a part of meetings and interactions, and which the minister himself attends and really manages it from a private sector perspective in terms of deliverables, what is needed, timelines, how soon once ideas are put forward, how soon those ideas, how soon whatever is put forward is implemented. So as far as under his portfolio is concerned, he's doing a great job. We're moving into a digital economy, and a lot of the services that we rely on from the government is being digitized. Is it where we would really want it to be? No, but it's gonna come a far way since everything has started, and most of digitization has started post-COVID. However, the banking sector and the pain points with small businesses interacting with banks, opening accounts, onboarding customers, whether private or business customers, handling real-time transfer. Okay, in a digital economy, you need real-time transactions. Those are still lagging behind. And I think while that is outside of the minister's portfolio, I think we will get and do get the minister support in some of those areas. So between the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Jamaica, they have some work to do where that is concerned. And we continue to lobby and try and get those institutions well rooted in the new trust for digital economy. I think corporate governance in small businesses has been improved thanks to the private sector organization of Jamaica. A lot of training, free training, I must add. The JBDC, which I'm a member of the board there. They are doing phenomenal work. The Development Bank of Jamaica financing a lot of the stuff that we need in terms of training, etc. And I must mention the other private sector civil society groups, the JCC, the SBAJ, and ourselves, the MSME Alliance, are really working together with very strong lobby to address some of the pain points that we need to be addressed so that we can form businesses and, be working in an environment that is sustainable as far as our businesses are concerned, and to really cause our businesses to matriculate from small and micro businesses to big business. The minister has said to really form the base of the economy as far as employment is concerned, and that is absolutely true. And if we continue to foster and to nurture and to incentivize the development of our small business sector, I think the country would be, moving really leaps and bounds as far as our employment is concerned, import substitution is concerned, etc. So we observe this day and we look where we are coming from to where we are at now. It's a significant move. We have gone a far way, but there's still some ways to go. And I'm sure the minister would agree with me that I've been saying that we are working towards that.
Minister, what's the
before you go, Tyrone, we just have to take one quick break and then we'll come back.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I have to say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
6:46.
Plan your tomorrow today. Introducing JMMB's Hello Future Retirement Planning website. Figure out how much you'll need to be set for life with our calculated tools and tips at your fingertips. Visit hellofuture.jmmb.com and start your journey to your dream retirement today. Conditions apply.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 25th staging of the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards, the Caribbean's premier culinary event, powered by MasterCard, takes place Thursday, June 27th, Devon House. The one-night-only evening of excellence in food creation, service and event decor is sponsored by Tasty, Tourism Enhancement Fund, Red Stripe, Johnny Walker, Sagicor, The Best Dressed Chicken, Appleton Estate, Pepsi, Suppligen, Eve, Gold Silver Cinco, Rainforest, Main Event, Island Car Rentals, King Alarm, Megamart and Derriman Trading. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
Deposit we have insurance. It's an account that come with assurance. Let me teach you why it's important to have deposit insurance. Just in case your bank crash dead. No need to put your hands by your head. Up to 1.2 million you get for all accounts that's affected. Yeah, one room you can start it. Or throw a house party. Pay your mortgage with ease. JDIC is a smart win. Deposits we bring safety. JDIC them protect me. Bank and billing society protected. The flow you must get with. Protect your savings smart. We urging you to call me. Guarantee you need us. We take banking serious.
For you and me.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers, to The Nation's Business. It's World MSME Day 2024, and we have on with us the Minister of Industry and Investment, Senator Auburn Hill, as well as the President of the MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, to discuss the developments in the industry. Tyrone, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask the Minister, what's the next big ticket item for this sector, the MSME sector, on your agenda?
Let me just address two very touchy pain points that Donovan brought up. One is the issue of getting money in time and get the MSMEs digitized. The government has the Development Bank of Jamaica and Exim Bank. Exim Bank is in my ministry. It has been, it's in the public square now that we do not see it as efficient to use government money to fund two financial institutions that are serving a large part of the same market. So merger talks are on, or talks are on to make sure the Exim Bank and DBJ join. But I have worked with Minister Gak and submitted a strong advocacy that when the institutions are joined, a very special division will have to be set up, certainly in a transition period over a couple of few years, to make sure that although DBJ now does not serve customers directly, small customers that is, they serve big ones, and then the others through the AFIs, that is the banks and other similar financial institutions. DBJ will, in fact, in this instance, have a special window for MSMEs so that Mark and the people in his association and the people who my ministry take a keen look after will be continued to be served. The issue of space, which he raised, is being looked after by Factories Corporation of Jamaica. I know Chairman Tanis Shirley and Dr. Faxon, who is the MD at FCJ, are working on the space. The big thing that we have ahead of us this year, Tyrone, is something that you are used to. Last year we had the road show, and we found it to be extremely effective. When I ran NCB as Group Managing Director, I know that many small people didn't like to come into the bank. They're almost fearful of it. In a similar way, maybe a little less, but in a similar way, they don't really walk into Jam Run, maybe a little bit more in JBDC, but not in the company's office they have to go to. But it's not as welcoming. So we took all our agencies out. The Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, HSRA, which looks after hazardous substances and so on, Bureau of Standards, all 20 of our agencies. We took them to Mandeville, to Montego Bay, to Ocho Rios, and to Kingston. We had over 1,000 participants, MSME business participants, over 1,000 firms, over 1,000 people participated. We have had over 150 firms participating in competition. A lot of them got prizes of 300,000, 100,000. IDB supported us with about $250,000 US. The total spend was just about $300,000 US. And we are now looking to do that again, Tyrone. And this, we're looking to have the next road shows in Clarendon on September 11th, St. Elizabeth on October 9th, Westmoreland on November 20th, and St. Thomas and St. Catherine early in 2025. So we continue to spend to get people in. And something that we do very especially is we have the Women and Entrepreneurship Support Project, which the Canadian government has helped us with. We spend about 2.6 million Jamaican dollars on that. Many women, we had 25 women business owners receiving equipment and products, about $25,000 each. So we are taking the business of looking after small, medium, and micro enterprises out to the people in the countryside.
Donovan Wignall, you heard there from the minister. What's the next big ticket item on the Holiness Administration's agenda for the MSME sector? Is that what? Does it accord with what the sector would like to be the next big item?
Well, to be honest, Tyrone, I'll take what the minister just said and add to that list the micro stock exchange to provide an additional route of financing for small businesses.
And we're supporting
what
that.
has Minister?
And we are supporting that, absolutely, yes.
Right. So as far as the financing aspects of small businesses are concerned, I think we have some challenges there. the programs that go through the DBJ, of course, for bigger, more organized, more structured businesses, there's a Gemini program that is coming up with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation on that board, which I also sit. Once that gets into gear, I think that will provide as well as some help, some assistance. But all in all, the immersion of some of the small businesses and the ministry, and the different areas in government, the Companies Office of Jamaica, the Customs Department, the Ministry of Health, the NCRA, all those places that have very, very, very heavy small business traffic. In business, time is money, and I think the minister is, based on what the minister has said and is currently doing, making those places more efficient so that we spend less time doing manual stuff and getting our stuff approved, application done digitally, etc. So my big thing that I'd love to see is a fully digital economy that saves time, that gets things done quickly, more efficient banking sector, more better interaction with the banking sector as far as the government areas are concerned, the tax offices, etc. The savings with time in those areas is big for me. I think the cost of energy is another thing that we need to look at, and I think there are some initiatives on the ground that are, being put in place now. But some of those things are big on the small business agenda, and we hope.
Donovan, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yes, pardon me.
Who gives the sector more challenges? Private sector, and I really mean the banks when I say that, or the government?
No, Tyrone, I'm going to say this. The banks really give the small business a lot more challenges. Right now, I don't think we have a tremendous amount of challenges with the government. And whatever challenges we have with the government as far as processing and efficiency is concerned, those are being addressed, and there's a very interactive process. And a lot of them being chaired by Minister Hill. And hats off to him, and I really commend him for taking the private sector approach to dealing with some of the issues that exist there. But we really need to do some serious work in the banking sector to see how we can reduce a lot of the pain points that we raise every single year in our lobby to get them to change and to, really enhance the interactions they have with small business, especially in the area of financing.
Minister, can you work fixing that kind of relationship that exists between the banks and the
it's an area that I clearly know about, and I understand. There's always two sides, at least, to anyone's story. Donovan has clearly identified that we have to digitize. That means small businesses as they set up, and I see a lot of young people setting up small businesses, and they are starting to make sure they're in the digital economy. But now Minister Dana Morris-Dixon is there looking at digitizing the government and the private sector, and a lot of work is being done in that end. But I absolutely agree with Donovan, because I ran the biggest bank here. I really do believe the banks will have to do some more work they have opened up quite a bit to small businesses, but it's not there yet to say, well, we want to get these people so digitized that they can work on all our systems. That's not yet there. And yet the small people as well, Donovan, you have to encourage them that as they start off with a digital approach rather than just a paper approach. And if both sides work at it, and Don, if anything comes to me, I'm going to get a working group working on it and try to find a solution. Luckily, I understand the banking system well. So I look forward to that. But a positive that is happening is something that, we have Grace, companies like Grace and Jamaica Brothers Group. You have the big banks, NCB and so on, doing business overseas. And I see when I took my trade mission, many of the trade missions I took last year and the year before, most of those people, and we had 73 people going with us to Guyana at one time, and about 40 to the US and UK. Many of them were small businesses. They paid their way. They come to look for markets. And I go back for the third time I went to Guyana this year. We see Guyana as very important to Jamaica because it's going to be a big economy that we have to be part of. When I went back the third time this year, a business person from Jamaica had gone with us the first time in Guyana, went out in the country. We missed the person for 2-3 days, made a partnership, and the third time I went back, they had a business established that is taking their products from Jamaica, selling it in Guyana in a business partnership they have in Guyana. And you see small, because of those, not just the road shows, but the business missions I take, you see small and medium-sized businesses are looking to export overseas, which is where you get hard currency, you have to compete in a tough market, you get better at what you do, and the profits come home to Jamaica. I love that.
Okay, thank you, Minister. That was Minister of Industry and Investment. Yes, that was the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Auburn Hill, and we're also joined by the President of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Alliance, Donovan Wignall. We thank you for your time. Up after the break, we actually have on the Minister of Health, Dr. Christopher Tufton, to clarify a statement he made at, I believe it was post-cabinet earlier this week.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is
7:01.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
The Jamaica Observer is always ahead. But did you know we're also number one by far? With over 18 million page views on our website, over 800,000 followers on Instagram, and a following of over 500,000 followers on Twitter.
We're tapping into an audience like no other.
And the numbers don't lie. Contact the Jamaica Observer team today to reach your target audience. Give us a call at 470-9172 to advertise with us.
The number one by far.
Welcome back to Nationwide at 5. We're into the third and final hour, but earlier today we carried a story where the health minister, that is Dr. Christopher Tufton, has suggested he had ambitions for higher office, and that was interpreted to mean that he was looking to the future to be a potential Prime Minister of Jamaica. Well, Dr. Tufton says that is not the case, and he...
Do we have the clip, Siobhan?
Yes, do we have that clip? Let's play that clip.
Let me say, as a public servant and one who aspires to higher office where we are now and want to continue so to do, but with a lot of experience, that burning down the house to improve your chances of controlling it is an indication of moral bankruptcy and does not serve the interests of the Jamaican people.
Well, Dr. Tufton says he did not mean that he is seeking the position of Prime Minister, and he is on to set the record straight. Good evening, Dr. Tufton.
Good evening, Dr. Tufton.
Go ahead, sir. I understand that that statement regarding you seeking higher ambitions for higher office has been misinterpreted. So please go ahead.
This is a case of how English can be interpreted or misinterpreted, I guess, depending on words. If you take the sentence in its full, the entire context, then hopefully I certainly would hope that it would have been interpreted that I was directing my comments at the opposition who, because of my own position, that they were trying to burn down the house in order to take control of it. So they were aspiring to become government, but destroying the institution of health by using a broad brush approach. When I said higher office, I also said right after where we are and where we would like to continue to be, and then proceeded to make the comment. So, let me just be clear. I am absolutely and fully committed to supporting Andrew Holness as Prime Minister and leader. I'm fully committed to supporting him to be the next Prime Minister after the next general election. And we are in the silly season, and, I just want to be clear on that so that there is no ambiguity at all. So that's all I wanted to say based on the news item that was aired earlier.
Understandable, Minister. But I mean, even then, you are a creature of politics, and I'm sure you have your ambitions. Even beyond the Prime Minister, I can't imagine the Prime Minister is going to stay in, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is going to stay in office forever. You have no ambitions to take that position?
Listen, no, my ambition right now is to keep the Labour Party in power, in office, because I think they're the best option for Jamaica. And I believe that Andrew Holness, as Prime Minister over the last 8 years, has done extremely well under difficult circumstances. And I'd like to see him continue and to be a part of that team. Just think about it. You just think about it. Do you think I would go to a post-cabinet press brief to announce my ambitions to the Prime Minister? I mean, it's almost absurd.
But have you come under pressure, Dr. Tufton, since the news item here? Have you come under any pressure?
No, I just want to be clear. There's so much out there, the fake news and the misinterpretation, misunderstandings. I didn't hear it myself, but I got about half a dozen calls, and someone sent me the tape. And I said, once it is subject to a particular interpretation, it's important to clarify. So that's all I want to just clarify and just ensure that
I understand
there's no
that.
misunderstanding.
But just so that nobody who's listening leaves with any other notion, it's safe to say you have no ambition to be Prime Minister.
At this point in time, absolutely not. My ambition right now is to be the best possible health minister on behalf of the team, led by the Prime Minister, and to ensure that the country gives us a mandate for the next term. That's my absolute ambition, to work hard and to ensure that we do well. And I'm defending the stewardship of the government, my own stewardship too, because I've been given a job to do. And for me, that's what counts, and I take it one day at a time. It would rather ill-advised for me to be thinking beyond the immediate task I have at hand. It's a difficult task, but I think we have done generally well, and that has been done under the guidance of an executive arm led by the Prime Minister. So that was my point when I spoke at the post-cabinet press brief, as well as all the other things I said, and that's where my commitment is at this point in time.
Speaking of defending your stewardship, Dr. Tufton, a lot has been said regarding the state of the health sector, and a few attacks have been launched and calls for resignation for senior members of your health ministry, including the CMO and the chief and the permanent secretary. What do you make of those calls, and what has been the response from Mr. Brian and Ms. Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa-McKenzie? Have they spoken to you about what those calls have made?
Well, we work as a team, and we have to work as a team. And it's not just them. We have 23,000 members of the health fraternity in public health, varying areas of service. Clearly, when we come under pressure and
we have to huddle together to overcome those things in keeping with our mandate. This particular type of pressure, to my mind, is unheard of. And frankly speaking, it's dangerous, because what the opposition party is seeking to do in their quest for power or high office, which is the point I was making, is to attack all and sundry, just throw the mud as wide as possible. I call it carpet bombing, and hope that it will have an impact in their own selfish pursuit of political office. It is wrong, and frankly speaking, as I said, morally bankrupt. Of course, it's going to affect the people who work in the system, who go out every day and work hard and give up their best, and in particular, civil servants who really don't have a political mandate. They're certainly not supposed to, and the ones I work with don't. I have never had an occasion to either influence them or it suggested to me that they are going to pursue a mandate that is more political or is political at all. They work based on the policies that are given to them. They are creatures of parliament. They report to an infrastructure. And as some of the commentators have said, the unions and so on, if they are in any way in breach of the rules, there is a forum in which to do that, by the way, which the opposition can participate in. They sit on these parliamentary committees. So it is absolutely wrong for them to do it. Sorry?
No, I said they run those committees, actually.
Exactly. So it is absolutely wrong, and it points to the fact that they are on a trajectory that is not in search of truth as they project so to do. It is more around trying to manipulate perception for their own political ends, and it should be rejected. And I made a point on one of your programs, I believe both of you were on, and you took me to task on it. That's fine, that's fair game in our democracy, around the fact that sometimes we run into this temptation of accepting everything that is placed out there, so the opposition can say anything they want to say, and the burden is now on us to prove them wrong. But I think periodically they need to be interrogated around why they make these wild and spurious arguments. I mean, they started with missing ventilators, then they went to not working ventilators, then they went to ICU units and high dependency units, and they just kept going and moving the goalposts. At what point do we say to them, how credible are you in this posturing that you're done? Is it really a search for truth? Or are you just trying to make things up as you go along, hopefully to discredit the system and the process anyway? No, I am fine with being criticized. So I understand that's part of my job. I'm in a very political climate, and it's now the season for that. But I think it's very disheartening and sets a very bad precedent to attack civil servants. Now, I see they've sent out their 11th release in a week. The General Secretary saying that public servants must be held accountable. Of course they should be. And this, again, is a nonsensical argument. The issue is, what is the process to keep them accountable? The process is not a release from an opposition party discrediting them and calling for their resignation. The process is to summon them to Parliament, Public Accounts Committee or otherwise, and to question them around anything that they think may need responses. That is the process, and that's the point that he has missed. And frankly speaking, it seems conveniently so to suit his narrow political ends. And we must call them out for it. We must call them out for it. If they are aspiring to higher office, they must demonstrate that they are responsible enough so to do in the unlikely event that they get there. And that was the point I was making when I spoke on Tuesday.
I'll say two things on that, Dr. Tufton, before I give you my question. One, I think you make a valid argument that the office of the Prime Minister, where the post cab is held, is not the place one would go and declare their intention to become Prime Minister, right? I think that's a fair argument. I take that. But I do also take that the way the sentence was framed, I can't fault journalists for interpreting higher office to mean Prime Minister, because it couldn't be Governor General, right? So you've come to clarification, and I don't think it's unreasonable. But I want to ask you this: what do you make? I'm not asking you to take this out of school, but you work closely with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health, as well as the chief medical officer. You were in the trenches with them during COVID-19. Have you spoken to them? How are they reacting to this kind of targeting, political targeting?
I think they're naturally unexpectedly disappointed. I mean, I think they have all right so to be. I think they have done a lot to demonstrate their commitment to their task and to following the protocols and rules that accompany those positions. This is not just about personalities now, you know. This is an attack on an office. Today it might be this person, tomorrow it might be another. And what the PNP is inadvertently doing, or unwisely so, is tearing down an entire institution. That to me is very dangerous, and I'm very happy to see others coming out like the unions to defend not just the persons but the office. So clearly they will be disappointed. I mean, they're humans. They're humans. They have families. They have colleagues, and it's not just them alone. I think many in the service would be naturally upset because these calls have just come without any logic, any justification, and frankly speaking, without any respect for due process. And I think it's highly responsible, and that alone, I think, should disqualify them from wanting to achieve higher office. And I hope the Jamaican people is taking note. They can't be that bitter and that hungry for power so that no rules apply in the conversation and in the debate and in what they're pursuing. It's not healthy. And that's the point that I tried to make when I took myself out of it in my statement and defended what I consider to be the institutions of public health, which I believe is necessary to defend. It's a critical infrastructure for the health and wellness of an entire country. And I don't mean we're perfect.
You haven't spoken to your boss
about on the issues, not on the personalities.
You haven't spoken to your boss about it.
The Prime Minister, you mean?
What you're saying is a misinterpretation of what you said. You haven't had words with your boss about this.
The difference between you and the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister knows better. He would not misinterpret what you have misinterpreted. I think it's a nice headline for you, but the Prime Minister is a very busy person.
What do you mean for you?
He knows that we're all committed to a cause and we're working together. So, no, I have not. I doubt there's a need to, frankly speaking. I mean, we're on one in terms of what we're trying to do and what our mandate is. I just wanted to ensure that nobody has that interpretation, because that certainly wasn't the intent when I expressed myself at the cabinet press briefing.
Dr. Chris Tufton. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your time, and thank you for the clarity regarding the statement earlier.
All the best.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, Siobhan. You know, for a political party to remain viable, you need to have other people within your ranks that can replace whoever is at the head. But it's usually politically a tricky place to be. You know, if you are that person who other people see as a natural successor, it can be a very, very tricky place to be. And wholeness loyalists may not look favorably upon Dr. Christopher Tufton. And it's not smart, I don't think, because for the party to be viable, you need to have potential success. Eh?
It's important to know that there are people within the ranks of any political movement that, in the case of any situation where the top holder of that position has to step down, that they can take up the reins. That's not anything to be ashamed of, or anything to say to suggest that you should not aspire to such a position in the future. Things change, times change.
But I'm who wouldn't have? If you're in politics, why wouldn't you have ambitions to be prime minister? I'm not suggesting that's what Tufton was saying. He's saying no. He's up for this clarification, and his argument is not entirely unreasonable, but because I gather he's in this, perhaps he and the Prime Minister run about the same age group. I don't know, Siobhan, if you know their ages, but you know, people will start to look over their shoulder, wonder if you're coming for them. You know, that's the downside to it. You know.
I understand where you're going, Tyrone, but let's just say it's time for the callers now, isn't it? It's 630-9371-4 and 6188255. You guys can come chat with us about The happenings today, happenings yesterday, happenings over the week. Whatever you'd like to discuss.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
My name is Dujan and I come from Appleton Basic School. My Olympic hero is Usain Bolt.
Away cleanly, Bolt has got a very good start indeed.
One of my mottos is that, anything is possible. Don't think limits on that. And I feel that I've proven that throughout the years. I never thought I would be this great at what I've done. But I want to say to the young kids growing up, just live your dream, work hard, stay focused, and just be strong and just keep on pushing and it will come true. So thank you.
Watch the clock, it's goal for Bolt, and again, he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt.
Stay tuned to the Paris Olympic on Nationwide 90 FM.
It's 7:20, and as I said, we're taking your calls. The numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255. Before we go to the lines, we have a caller lined up, but just a reminder, in about 40 minutes, the CNN presidential debates between former Prime Minister Donald Trump and the current holder of that office, Joe Biden, is set to... President, sorry, still have the Prime Minister thing on my mind. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, and his successor and the current holder of the office, Joe Biden, are set to have their presidential debate in about 40 minutes. So that should be quite an interesting thing, Tyrone. What do you think will be the outcome of that debate? Do you think there'll be a winner?
Boy, I'm worried about Biden. Can I tell you? Trump seems to be some form of Teflon. Former president, he's still popular among his base, even though, he's been found guilty, of a crime. But I'm worried about Biden because he does seem a few steps slower than the last time he was at this place.
Well, I mean, his age has been one of the most easily things to point to, but I mean, Trump is not that younger than him. I think Trump is 77, and Biden is 78, something like that.
But Biden is giving a bit more, like there have been clips. I'm not sure if people are spicing them, but there are moments he seems to freeze up. I mean, they've refused to release the audio tapes of an interview that he was done. Because I got his performance during that interview wasn't so great. I'm concerned how he might perform today.
Well, we'll know in about 37 minutes, but we have Noel on the line waiting. I don't want to keep him waiting any longer. Noel, good evening.
Good evening, Noel.
Yes. Good evening.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Not bad. No, I want to talk to Tyrone because he make a statement, you see?
Yes,
you
sir.
are with me?
Yes, sir, I'm with you.
Defending Dr. Tufton and his ambition.
Defending him?
By saying that his ambition is to go higher and it's not being the Prime Minister. Maybe it means to be the Governor General, could be.
Actually, no, I never said that. You have the radio in the background, sir?
Yes, but as nationwide.
No, man, if you can turn the radio down in the background, there's a delay. So
it causes a feedback.
Oh. make I go and get it done, no?
All right. And, Siobhan, until he rejoins us, these debates may make or break Biden's attempt at becoming a president for a second term.
It's his to lose, essentially, right? Because the points of attack against Trump are there, and quite easily, it should in any normal political sense, it should be a walkover, essentially.
But you realize those points of attack didn't work when he became president. They've been amplified now. But
exactly.
But the man seems to be Teflon in his base.
Hello?
Doesn't seem to be offended. Yes, you're with us now, sir.
Yes, you were saying that.
No, man. I was saying to Dr. Tufton that I can't fault the journalists in the newsroom to have interpreted the statement aspiring to higher office to mean prime minister, because he certainly didn't mean governor general. So that's what I said.
Yes, but why you mention governor general while we're getting rid of the king?
No, I think it's more to say that, let me put it another way. Who would aspire to be governor general? I mean, is it a realistic political aspiration to be the governor general?
But we don't need a governor general again when we're getting rid of the man, huh?
No, but you're the one who suggested that he could be aspiring to be governor general. I'm saying, but who in political office aspires to be governor general? Or let's replace that now with the president of the Republic of Jamaica. Who in political office would aspire to be president of the Republic of Jamaica? It's a ceremonial title at most, with a few minor executive privileges, but it's a ceremonial title. You are just sitting there on a throne, essentially.
But what I don't understand, is one pick the governor general that look like he's putting some icing on the cake to him defending Dr. Tufton that is not the prime minister I want to be. But his ambition I think, is to be a prime minister. Nothing is wrong with that still,
There's nothing wrong with that, having that ambition.
Because the prime minister can be there forever and ever.
But that's politically troubling, though. If he goes to the office of the prime minister and announces that he has prime minister ambitions, that can be construed by his boss as being disrespectful.
Yes, but as you're defending him, I said he could be thinking of being the governor general.
I told you I wasn't, and you don't accept it, so I don't know what to do.
I know you're skillful now. You're talking about football yesterday, I'm a Walter boy, but you're a skiller, a great footballer.
Thank you, Noel.
Wasn't that skillful? Wasn't he the one known for a plethora of offsides in a World Cup?
Yes, man. Skiller, man.
From Italy, right?
All right.
I guess I'm offside then.
All right, Noel. Thank you for the call.
Okay.
All right,
so before we go to the next call, so Joe Biden is 81 years of age, born in November 1942. That means if he retains his presidency, he would end his second term at the age of 86, essentially. 86.
And Trump is about 78?
78, born in June 14 in 1946.
So he'll end in his 80s if he becomes president as well.
Either of them will end in the 80s.
I feel sorry for the American people, I must say, because the two choices are not great.
Neville, you're on the line. Good evening.
Good evening, Neville.
Good evening, Tyrone and Mr. Campbell.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, man. Neville from the hills of Mucko in Clarendon,
You're from my places, sir.
Oh, you're from Mucko?
I heard you talking.
No, I'm from Chapelton, but not far from Mucko.
Yeah, man. I heard you talking to my favorite minister, Dr. Tufton. But there are certain things that you need to understand. And in politics. Firstly, if Dr. Tufton even have the ambition to be a prime minister, he's not going to really try or put out any effort. Because you guys should remember, Jamaicans are very unforgiving, And if you guys were to get inside the belly of those Labour Party ministers and people, you know, who would remember that Dr. Tufton came from NDM, you know. And if you talk to people of high influence,
he didn't come from NDM.
That, you know.
I don't think that's accurate. He was in the JLP. He left and went and became a part of the NDM, and then he came back.
Yes, and I'm saying Jamaicans are unforgiving. I'm telling you that they will, it's just something you need to understand that even over the past few years, all the surveys and everything have shown him as one of the hardest working minister, popular minister, everything. That's why he's been attacked by the PNP, you know. But the truth behind it is, I wouldn't advise him or even try to say, go after that position of Prime Minister. It's true.
But I mean, Neville, wasn't Bruce Golding the...
And he came back and
became
Prime Minister.
Became JLP leader and became Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Listen to me now, man. If you understand the maneuvering that have to go on, if you understand what really happened inside there, for Bruce, it was more or less the survival of the Labour Party. You know, Bruce came back because they didn't see Eddie as a person who could take Labour Party to victory. That was the only reason why Bruce was accepted, you know.
They would have probably still been in opposition. You're absolutely right. Had he not come back.
You see, so when Dr. Tufton, man, with Dr. Tufton here this evening, and there's people allegation about ambition to be Prime Minister, I know Dr. Tufton is not going to really even have that inclination or idea. Because the truth is, he would be chopped down inside there before he out good. I'm telling you.
So real talk, Neville, who do you see as a potential up-and-comer? Say the Prime Minister steps down and there's a clear need for someone to step up. Who would you see as an up-and-comer?
Look here. Floyd Green was the person in line, you know, and the chop off time the other day, but he escaped. So he gone back in line again. Floyd Green is the person.
So you see Floyd Green as a future Prime Minister?
Yeah, man. While she's grounded. Once he's grounded.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, man. So you guys have a very good night then, all right, sir? But then nothing mix up my favorite minister, Dr. Tufton, the bangarang. You get me? As he's grounded in his ministry and he knows his ability, what he can do. But him now go push this so we can know him now get chopped down.
Well, all right, we hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
All right. Delroy, you're on the line. Good evening.
Hello, good night. How are you doing, man?
Doing quite well.
That's good. My little piece tonight, you know, I just want to find out, is Bill Davis was a part of the health minister in the health department?
If who?
I believe he sat on a board of one of the hospitals, if I'm not sure which one, but I believe he sat on one of the boards.
Who is this, Siobhan?
Okay, because...
Bell Davis, the former mayor.
Okay.
Hey, good night.
Yeah, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. If Bell Davis was a part of the health area?
As I said, I believe he sat on the board of one of the hospitals or one of the regional authorities. I'll have to do my double check on that, but he, as in directly involved in health, no. But he was a board member of either a hospital or one of the regional authorities.
Okay, because you know why I'm saying that? Because, I mean, after speaking about health and things like that, I see General Secretary come and try to swing the thing today. He come and try to swing the thing today, saying that, I mean, he was talking about Bill Davis and the next MP from somewhere, Chilani, we are there.
Yes, he's suggesting that, but let us be honest. The board members for all, up until recently when they changed the Public Management and Bodies Act, have been political appointees. This is not new. This shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. This is not some new practice that the JLP invented. This was a practice for the last 30, 40 years. When you win an election, certain people are sitting down waiting to be called to say, you're going to be sitting on X board. That is your reward for helping us win an election.
Yeah, because he pulled in from one side to the next side. You know, and try to use something to make up because he pulling away, going all the way to Bill Davis and the rest of people. And said those are the ones that they was talking about. It's not about the people that them said they were attacked.
I see that, but he also, in that release, also pointed out that he has still found issue with the permanent secretary, Mr. Dunstan Bryan. So he has not backed away from that call of Mr. Bryan to resign.
Oh. And with Dr. Dawes again. I don't think Dr. Dawes is somebody...
Sir, do you have your radio on in the background?
I said, Dr. Dawes is not somebody that you can really study. Because,
Sir, do you have your radio on in the background?
At one time, Dr. Dawes said that, I mean... And then Cliff Hughes asked him about it and said no, and then 1 year later and come back with the same thing. So how can you really trust somebody like that? Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you. We're hearing you.
Okay, so just to be, Mr. Bell Davis was the chairman of the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital Board.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Dawes, from the day I see them put him up saying is spokesman, something like that, I know that man big game problem because the first thing he do when he go send catching, him call the people them jigs, and then after that he gone back and call them murderer, and him looking for the same people them to really stand by him at election. What kind of people is that? That man really write it?
I don't know how to answer that one, caller, honestly.
Because it's like you're running the fall, you call the fall and I run the fall same time. That's what you're doing, Because
all right, thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Errol, you're on the line? Errol, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Evening. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good evening, Errol.
Long time to talk for the program,
Welcome, man.
How you doing, Errol?
I crush Dr. Dawes and them, Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Errol, go ahead. What go on? You say
Dr. Dawes, remember, in about 6 years ago or 7, in the Sabnamara say him have used when named for turn do when I work for a patient that him that there under post-out regime. So I come a pressure Tufton over resign and a chat against the civil servant people. And what do them people about?
I recall that story quite pellucidly because I believe it was one of the first.
Just remind me, what Porter was the Prime Minister,
Yes, it was one of the first stories I wrote when I came to Nationwide News.
The man came
and he had the press conference and he showed us the pictures of the poor state of the surgical facilities, the operating facilities, and the health. It was quite the scandal at the time as well.
I tell you. I was the man from St. Thomas where they call him was the health minister them time there, Ferguson. I'm all right?
Yes, you're right.
So, Christopher Tufton come and do a good work and the man just come with a little pressure the man and a pressure this to resign. A little idiot there can but them to go one side them and I work with them hungry person that them just go on like them are idiot. And then now I get the power, No power in there for them. Remember me tell you that. All them are going on a chat. Marky G, the whole of them, no power. You see how Peter Philip push out Porsche? Peter Bounty push out him and then come in a bang around, no power in there for them, brother. They have know that and take with themselves and go one side.
All right, Errol.
Yeah, man.
All right, sir.
I'm government, go on the way, man, do.
All right, my boy.
Well, we're taking your calls, listeners. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Cedric, I believe you're on the line. Good evening.
Yes,
Good evening, Cedric.
How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad. Regarding the question you asked Dr. Tufton this evening, you know the news media can also create panic and hysteria in the society too. You know, when you read the statement like that he made, I didn't call him. You had a discussion in your newsroom, right, about it, right?
I can't say. I was busy writing my stories. I can't say.
But that thing, that's what I heard Mr. Reed said. The news, somebody, it has been discussed or something like that.
No, sir, you never hear me say today because I'm not in the newsroom, sir.
All right, okay. So, but what is the newsroom? If it's causing you guys, call him and make him clarify if it brings it up on the news. You put something on the news.
If it's causing you guys what?
You start comparing polls and giving poll results, and these things will cause confusion in the society to do it like that. You give him a chance to explain like it did just now before you publish something like that, because that was never in the statement that was read. I don't see it like that. I don't know how you guys see it like that.
You want me to play the clip for you?
Huh?
You want me to play the clip for you again?
I saw the clip. I was watching the news conference.
No, do you want me to play it for you again?
No, I don't need to play it for me again. You play it for yourself and listen to it. That's what you must do. Listen to it properly for yourself.
No. Sir, look. Do you think the media is going to, having coming back from a press conference, if they are to call every single person about every single thing they say, do you think
but you are the only one who saw it that way.
No, I mean you're the only one who saw it that way. Nationwide leads in breaking news all the time. We've become a victim of our own success now.
Statement that way. You're the one who reported this statement that way. Nobody else has done that.
Sir, I don't follow the journalists in the newsroom for interpreting the statement the way they do.
Okay, enjoy receiving. Bye-bye.
You too, man. Who's next?
Errol? A different Errol this time, right? Errol, evening. Hello, Errol? Oh, Fergie. Good evening, Fergie.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Fergie.
I'm not going to get into the political thing here so much. The Minister of Industry and Commerce came on and he mentioned a lot of nice things coming up. But I know they haven't addressed the thing that caused the collapse of the business sector through FinSac, right?
What do you mean not addressed? Fergie, what do you mean not addressed, though?
Pardon?
What do you mean as by not addressed? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, it is something that affected the whole business sector years ago, and I thought the announced that the inquiry, the result, the inquiry is completed.
So you mean?
And we haven't heard anything more about it.
It is a Ministry of Finance issue, but what you mean is that the report was not released, not that it was not addressed, because much of the regulations we have in terms of financial and fiscal management is as a result of the FinSac era.
Yes, well, I noticed the last time I called you mentioned that things are put in place that this is hard for this to happen again. But still, you remember, economics is not an exact science, so it can happen again. But I'm just saying to put something in place that it is impossible to happen again.
No, but there's no way you can put in something into place to make an impossibility. The best you can do is create a regulatory regime that eliminates the potential of something like this happening. And we have that regulatory regime already in place.
Yeah, but that's what you say. But what I'm also saying is that just like you have a law, you can't have slavery again. Why can't you have a law that you can't?
No, but you can have a law that says you don't have slavery, but that is what trafficking in persons is. It is a form of slavery. Just because we have a law that says you're not allowed to kill somebody, it doesn't mean people haven't done it. And laws do not prevent human beings from being human beings, you know. It just tries to restrain them from doing certain things.
I know that, but if you have a law that somebody cannot change the goalpost and we have an agreement, that's what I'm saying.
And people will still attempt to change the goalpost, even with the law in place. What you want is to ensure that the penalties are such that if they do breach the law, or if they even consider breaching the law, they recognize what will happen to them if they do.
Yes. Anyway, all I'm saying that I know this is skipping the FinSAC thing. I don't know if we're going to get the results until
No, but they made it clear. The minister during his budget debate made it clear that the report, due to various reasons, could not be completed. What they will do is make all the archival information that was generated as a result of the FinSAC Commission available to the public and to the media for them to do with as they please. So I'm certain that once we here at Nationwide get access to that information, we will do something with it.
Right.
You have that guarantee from here.
I wonder if that after the election, when more of the people who suffered from it die. Anyway.
Well, that's a good question, and I will put that to the minister as to when we can have access to that information.
Yes, because the people who used to lobby hard for it, there's only a few around now. Okay, I'll just leave you with that.
All right, thank you for the call.
Okay. Good.
Carl, evening, how you doing?
Evening. Good evening.
And your bangle card.
Yeah, I want to tell Daz, ask Daz how much he used to cut one soap by Savlama Hospital. That's one of your questions tonight, Daz. And next question for you, Daz. If you're coming to Spanish Town, there's a hospital a bill right now out of taxpayer money, not borrowing money, which the British citizen was advising Omar how to wreck the Jamaica people. And in next, not staying long tonight, also does, if I did have anybody who are them doctor, I will have to move that patient. Because a person who doesn't speak the truth, maybe will give the person a capsule until there's an injection.
Don't do that, Carl. Come on.
Carl, you must withdraw what you just said.
All right, I will withdraw it then. I will withdraw it. Anyhow, Daz, if you're coming to Spanish Town, we are building a brand new hospital there, Daz. Take a look. The only problem is that, Daz, the dead piece of Mia would even fix the road from right up by Plaza right there, so where the bus them park to come down to the hospital. And I fright that the people, them return him as a Mia into Spanish Town. And Daz, you need to take a look. I asked you more than one time, tell me what went on into the Savlama Hospital. Just come one day and let us ask you some questions. And the last thing I will say, I was very disappointed in Alric yesterday morning when Alric called a man that the name of a call, and when Alric said what he said yesterday morning, that was disappointing, Alric. I know you know better. That's not a gentleman, Alric. You cannot look on them there and call them gentlemen. That is very bad of you, Alric. No,
Carl, let me ask you.
You know.
Who you think Dr. Tufton will make a good future Prime Minister?
All right. I slightly go with Mr. Neville. Although Mr. Neville give a parish council seat, already have for 72 years. But my two persons, which I have, same flight green there, and if my member of parliament, Colonel Charles Jr., I will have, if there's a contest there between the two of them, then you know, so me have to go with Pernell. I mean, he's one of the person who helped to carry Pernell coming to Southeast Clarendon. But flight green, we don't have
Rhoda on your ballot. How do you hear any of you mentioning any of the women? You don't have Rhoda on your ballot.
Remember, say Rhoda, them kind of just come. Pernell did kind of did, and he have you all seen a Pernell did, you know? Kind of help guide him, but flight green kind of know it. I mean, I look funny like a party, kind of young them at time, and he get him beaten and he come
yeah,
back.
But you have to remember that is there. People are going to bring that up, you know.
Yeah, we know that. But you said something that is very good, Tyrone. I heard Daz and I heard Dayton Campbell and I hear the the arm of the People's National Party, and nobody is calling upon the British citizens. What are you doing concerning your... You say, when the government...
I think that question has been put to Mr. Golding many times, Carl. I don't think that...
But Tyrone, if some, God forbid, and if you are left nationwide, when you are left, you're not left your car tired.
What?
What do you mean? What kind of question is that?
Tyrone,
yes.
God forbid you decide to move on fully. And if you did have a bag already or something, you're not going to leave your bag in a nationwide. You'll carry everything, you know?
What if it's nationwide bag?
Leaving.
Well, you would be leaving. So when you tell me, say, Tyrone, when you tell me, say, that when the government leave England, you know, if you left nothing over there, if you come with everything. But when you check it, more than 3/4 you're there England. You wasn't speaking the truth, Tyrone.
What? I don't understand. Where are you going? I can't follow. I'm not following you. You've been issued a series of non-sequiturs. I'm not following you, Carl.
Tyrone.
Yes.
The British citizen tell we, say, Tyrone, that when the government leave England, he must take everything, you know, for left nothing. He must take out in
when Jamaica is leaving England, don't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
And 1 foot,
Right. So you mean the Jamaican British citizen, Mark Golding?
Right. And yet, Tyrone, he was still occupying Upper England. Right now, he can go vote the next 2 weeks from now in England. It means that
July 4th.
Yes, July 4th. He can go vote. Because in Cleveland, up there, Cleveland, say, my wait to see if he can see me in a line.
Siobhan, is that true? Can he vote in the British election?
If he is a British citizen, he is legally allowed to vote in the upcoming election. I believe it's next week. Right? Yes.
God, after all the dribble, you finally delivered a hit, man. He can go vote in the British election.
Tyrone, I don't understand you. Tyrone, if you ask...
But God, you have them big cards you play, and you talk all kind of madness, man.
Tyrone, we have left some ammunition. Tyrone, we don't know which day.
Carl, you can go and vote on July 4th.
Of course. Tyrone.
But one would assume, though, he would still need to be resident somewhere because just like in Jamaica, you have your constituency, so you have to be resident somewhere to vote somewhere.
Yeah, you can get right. Come on, don't you need to be domiciled here for like 12 months or something like that? What's the timing for England?
All right, Carl. Thank you for the call, though. I have to look that up. I should look that up in terms of how exactly one has to go about voting in the United Kingdom. But Donovan, you're on the line. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, before you go, Donovan, I have to give an update from the newsroom. Just to say, members of the public are being advised that a section of the Mount Rossa main road in Ewerton, St. Catherine is impassable due to an accident wherein a truck overturned. As a result, motorists are being advised to use alternative routes. Uniformed personnel, police personnel, will be at the intersections in the adjoining areas, and motorists are asked to follow their instructions. Sorry about that, Donovan. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Kevin. Good evening and good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
The app, your NNN app, I can't get it on the phone at all. It just dropped off from yesterday evening.
Oh, so the app is down?
The app is down. And
you have an update?
You pass information on to our technical people.
Yes, thank you. And the next thing again, okay.
Okay, I was told, Donovan, that you were informed earlier today that they were checking on the app and that they're working on it.
Oh, they're working on it. So
yes.
Glad to hear that. Because I'm listening on YouTube. But you know, when you're using the YouTube and you're not driving your battery dead fast. You understand?
All right.
You can't keep the phone plugged in.
Yes, so our people are aware of it.
I'm glad to hear that. And then next thing I want to ask about is the politics. They're the same Peter Bunting, they're the one who said we shouldn't have no more white man running the country.
What?
Back in when Peter Bunting used to say, I hope we don't make any mistake again and make a white man have to run the country again. You remember that?
I don't recall that. Tyrone?
I don't recall Peter Bunting saying anything like that. When did that happen?
All right. Make a research on it and you'll find out. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good one.
All right, I pulled up UK Parliament elections, Tyrone, and these are the requirements. Be registered to vote in the constituency. So you would have to be registered in a constituency, be of voting age 18 or older, be either a British citizen, a qualifying Commonwealth citizen, or a citizen of the Republic of Ireland, and not be subject to any legal incapacity to vote. Example being a prisoner serving a sentence, or being a member of the House of Lords. So those are the requirements.
It doesn't say you need to be domiciled.
No, it doesn't speak to being domiciled. Just you have to be registered in a constituency.
Oh, God, that makes it even funnier. Oh, goodness. So it's, come on. The leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition may very well be able to vote on July 4 in the UK.
I understand the irony. I'm sure that no such thing will happen, but yes, he has that legal ability if he so wishes.
Are you comfortable with that, Siobhan?
No, but I've made it clear that I'm not comfortable with any member of Parliament holding British citizenship. I've made that quite clear.
Yeah,
any.
Wow. Carl for the win, I tell you, that one is forgets. We think he's casting a ballot he may vote for. The Conservative.
I don't think that's even a question.
Or Labour.
I don't even think that's a question as to which party Mr. Goulding would vote for in the United Kingdom.
Rishi Sunak or
I don't think that.
Remember the Labour leader's name again.
It's interesting, you know. Jeremy Corbyn's. I read Jeremy Corbyn's book, and I was shocked to find a byline in his. I believe it was his autobiography that he thanked Michael Manley for his inspiration. Do you know that? Yes, in Jeremy Corbyn's book.
No, who's the leader of Labour now?
That would be Keir Starmer, but Jeremy Corbyn being the former head of the Labour Party. I was surprised to find that reference. I said, "Oh."
So you're saying there may be a link between the two parties?
Oh, there's most certainly a link between the two parties.
Boy, I tell you, sometimes these callers amuse me. So, Siobhan, there you have it. Your opposition leader may be able to vote in the UK. You can't make these things up, You can't, sometimes you have to ask who write these scripts, You couldn't have scripted this any better.
It's an unfortunate turn of events. I will say no more beyond that. It's an unfortunate turn of events up to where we find ourselves today.
Yeah. And I find it fascinating that opposition leader, knowing very well that he was a dual British and Jamaican citizen, saying we can't have one foot in King Charles. Yeah, how do you say that with a straight face, knowing that you are a dual citizen of England?
It's one of the. I don't know how to respond to that because I am still flabbergasted.
No, it's. Anyways, I think we're Shema things up before.
Yes, it's an interesting note to end the evening on. Listeners, callers, and viewers, thank you for joining us on Nationwide at 5. Thanks to Cara Powell, who stepped in to cover the producing duties for this evening, along with our technical operator David McNeish, who assisted us filling in for our lovable Andrew Glenn Boogs Anderson, as well as all my friends and compatriots in the news and production department.
I think Andrew might be offended by you calling him lovable. Come on, Siobhan. Let's scratch that one from hand.
Very well. I withdraw that from the record.
Hey, Boogs, big up yourself, my bro. Here you are, yeah? And of course, Dana in her absence as well. I think Sonia contributed as well.
Yes, Sonia Stewart, as well as Nora Gay Banton, who pulled a double shift A 12-hour shift for us today.
Hard-working members of the news and production team.
Have a good evening. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Have a good evening. I'm Tyrone.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness.